Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you are new. My name's Teresa, and today is round 4? Yeah, round 4 of Jurassic TBR. Hey guys, how's it going? If you are new here, if you would like to see more of like these videos, I will link a playlist up above and down below, and make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already, and give us a thumbs up if you like it. Before we get into this month's game, let me go ahead and recap last month. Okay guys, so these are all of the physical books that I had to read last month, but let's go ahead and go through and see how I did. I was supposed to read a book club book, and the book club that I decided to join, so basically I just pick a random book club because I'm not a part of any officially. I pick one out there in the world and I read along with whatever book they are reading. And last month in August, I decided to join in with a few of the Christian booktubers. They have a book club group within themselves, and some of them open it up to their subscribers to kind of join in on the discussion. And this month they chose to read the book of Galatians from the Bible. So I did read that. I read the whole book of Galatians, like twice actually. Moving on, I ended up on an owned TBR, and the way I do that is normally do a random number generator of my physical TBR and have books pick that way. And it chose for me Aurora's Colors, Arula, I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyways, I chose this book. I did not read this book, but because it's my game, my rules, I actually decided to switch this one out because I knew I wasn't going to get to it. Switch that one out with this one, Alice in Zombieland by Gina Showalter. This one is by Jeffrey Overstreet, and because it was on my own TBR, I decided that it'll work, and I did read this. After that one, I landed on another Mr. TBR card. The book club pick was a TBR card as well, and it was shortest on my TBR. So I chose to read a book in this bind up called The Death of David Pickett. So this book is a short story within another short story. Like there's two books in here. The Death of David Pickett. This is by G.A. Mathis, and I DNF'd this. I was not a fan, so I will still count that because I did technically try it at least, so I DNF'd it. So yes, I have completed this prompt. The next prompt I landed on was a black footprint, which is thriller. So I chose to read My Summer Darlings by May Cobb, and I did finish this book. After that, I landed on fantasy, and I chose to read Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher, and I did finish this one as well. I landed on another thriller, and I chose to read Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins, and I did read this one. The last one I landed on was fantasy, and I chose to read Cry Raven by Morgan L. Boos. They've actually 100% completed my TBR. I'm so excited. So yeah, I don't do punishments or rewards or anything like that. I just get like the proudness, whatever word you would use there. I get to be proud of myself that I finished my TBR. So with that all the way out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into September, shall we? So for those of you who maybe are new here and you've never seen my game before, this is my game, Jurassic TBR. I created this myself. It is basically my TBR game based off of Jurassic Park. And if you want to know how this game is played, I will go ahead and link I linked the playlist already, but I will link specifically the first video that I did of this because I go through all the rules. Yeah, so why don't we just jump into rule number 1. This is round 4, and I have Ellie Sattler here with me. She is going to help me try and escape Jurassic TBR. Let's do roll 1. And that's a 1. Yay. So we have thriller. Okay, roll number 1, you guys. I landed on a black footprint, which is a thriller. For the book I chose for this is The Priest's Graveyard by Ted Dekker. This is one of the very few of Ted Dekker's books that I have not read yet. So I'm going to go ahead and tackle this one this month. Danny Hansen is a Bosnian immigrant who came to America with hopes of escaping haunted memories of a tragic war that took his mother's life. Now he's a priest, incensed by the powerful among us who manipulate the law for their own gain, uncaring of the shattered lives they leave behind. It is his duty to show them the error of their ways, even if he must put them in the grave. So it's basically about a priest that does revenge, or not revenge killings, vigilante killings. I don't know. I'm really excited to read this. Like I said, it's one of the very few of his books that I have not read yet. So I'm excited to get to this one this month. Roll number 2. Roll number 2 is a 3. 1, 2, 3, and that is white, which is own TBR. Okay, so roll number 2. We landed on own TBR, and I will go ahead and insert a clip here of me picking my book. If you look at my spreadsheet, everything's ordered by author, last name. If we scroll up to the very top, you will see that number 1 is actually title, author, and all the information. So I have 2 through 311. So I plugged that into my random number generator. We have 2 as a minimum, 311 as a maximum. And I've seen other people do this where they actually generate 3 times. So I'm going to do that instead of just generating once. So let's see, we go 1, 2, and 3. 224. So book 224 is the one I want. So let's see, 224 or 24. 24. Right there, Panic by Lauren Oliver. Okay, as you hopefully saw in that clip, I used oh my gosh, you guys, I'm having trouble today. I used a random number generator to pick what my own TBR book I'm going to be reading this month is, and it picked Panic by Lauren Oliver. Panic began as so many things do in Carp, a poor town of 12,000 people in the middle of nowhere, because it was summer and there was nothing else to do. Heather never thought she would compete in Panic, a legendary game played by graduating seniors. She never thought of herself as fearless, the kind of person who would fight to stand out. But when she finds something and someone to fight for, she will discover that she is braver than she ever thought. But it sounds like there's kind of a high stakes game. I'm guessing probably murder and mayhem are gonna happen, or something real bad is gonna go down, right? And E. Lockhart said it is a thrill a minute. So another thriller, another good, and this was totally randomly picked for me, but I'm excited that it picked this book for me because it's another thriller that's been on my shelves for a long time. And I just need to get it read. So that's what I'm gonna be reading for this prompt. Roll number 3, which is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Green, which is a Mr. TBR card. So let's see what we got here. We have Ancestry. Okay, this needs some explaining. This one is really fun, you guys. We landed on a Mr. TBR card for roll number 3, and the one that I drew is Ancestry. So let me explain this a little bit. I have a video, and I'm wanting to remake this video and kind of update it and actually pursue this idea. But I'll link it above the video, basically where I am using Ancestry DNA to kind of pick my TBR. And again, I do plan on remaking this video soon, but if you want to go watch the original one, I'll post it. And it's basically gonna be the same idea. I'm just gonna update it and everything. But what I'm going to do, what the main idea is going through Ancestry. I have, different countries and whatever that are of my ancestry, my ancestors are from. So say Ireland, I have a lot of Irish in me. Basically what I'm going to do is pick a time where I'm going to read a lot of Irish books. To kind of get a grasp on the culture is kind of my plan. And so this is basically just to kind of do that and read a book that is based off my ancestry or from my ancestry, whatever. Am I making any sense? Anyways, the book I chose to read for this is, I'm not gonna be able to pronounce that name correctly. Oh. Anyways, it's Norwegian Folktales, and this is the author's name. Book of Fairy Tales, adapted and illustrated by Ingrid and Edgar Pryan Deolori. I'm so sorry if I'm not saying those names correctly. They're Norwegian names, so I'm sure there's a bit of a difference there from English. But yes, I am Norwegian. I do have Norwegian blood, Norwegian ancestry. And so I was kind of trying to think of a book that I wanted to read, and I was hoping that, I'm I don't know how many books I'm going to get on my TBR this month. So what I decided to do was just pick a fun, I love folklore. I kind of feel folklore is kind of fall-ish to me anyways. So I picked this book. It's got illustrations. The only like Norse mythology or Norse stuff that I know is like the gods and stuff, you know, like Vikings and then like Odin and Loki and Thor and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know anything else about their kind of culture, their folklore. And since I already know a lot about like Irish and Scottish and English and all that, I was like, it would be really fun to do Norwegian. And so it's just stories and illustrations of, you know, Norwegian folklore, kind of self-explanatory. Yeah, but that's what I'm going to read for this prompt. Roll number 4, we have a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's black, which is thriller. Roll number 4. We landed on a thriller, and I am going to choose the book Darlington Woods by Mark De Soto.
Rob Shields has lost his wife and son. Battling depression, denial, and an irrational fear of darkness, Rob travels to the small town of Mayfield, Massachusetts to check out a house he has inherited from his great aunt Wilda, a woman whom he has never met. There in Mayfield, strange things begin to happen that lead Rob to believe his son, Jimmy, is not really dead. After a restless night and eerie dream, Rob is convinced the answer to the mysteries surrounding Jimmy's disappearance and alleged death is to be found in the village called Darlington, a town found on no map.
So creepy book about a small town that is not on the map, and it's like Christian horror thriller fiction. Yes, please sign me up. So let's go to the next roll, shall we? Roll number 5. We have a 2. 1, 2. Yellow is fantasy. Okay, you guys, we landed on fantasy. And for this, I'm deciding to continue a series that I started earlier this year. Now I'll be reading Sun Warrior by PC Cast. So this is book 2 in the Tales of a New World series. And I'll tell you a little bit about the first one because it's book 2. Obviously, I don't want to like spoil anything for book 1.
Mari is an Earthwalker, heir to the unique healing powers of her clan, but she has been forced to turn from her duties until she is chosen by a special animal ally, altering her destiny forever. When a deadly attack tears her world apart, Mari reveals the strength of her powers and the forbidden secret of her dual nature as she embarks on a mission to save herself and her people.
It's pretty cute. I think I rated the first book of 3, but it's like definitely one like I want to continue reading the series. It does have animal companions. Mari has like a dog wolf kind of pet. I know there's like another character has like a lynx or some kind of bobcat or something. So I'm really excited to continue this series. So that is what I chose for fantasy. Roll number 6. Roll number 6 is a 1. Which is red, which is a Jurassic TBR card. So, Jurassic TBR card is Dennis Nedry. Read a book about betrayal. We finally got, on roll number 6, we finally got a Jurassic TBR card. So what we drew was Dennis Nedry, read a book about betrayal. And this is like literally anything. I can pick any genre, any book. It just has to have betrayal of some sort or another in the story. So the book I'm choosing for this is Crown of Feathers. And this is by Nikki Pau Preto. I'm the worst with names, so I apologize if I'm pronouncing that last name incorrectly. I apologize to the author. I really should look things up, but I always just forget to do so before I start filming. It just is what it is, you guys.
In a world ruled by fierce warrior queens, a grand empire was built upon the backs of phoenix riders, legendary heroes who soared through the skies on wings of fire, until a war between two sisters ripped it all apart. 16 years later, Veronica is a war orphan who dreams of becoming a phoenix rider from the stories of old. After a shocking betrayal from her controlling sister, Veronica strikes out alone to find the riders, even if that means disguising herself as a boy to join their ranks. Just as Veronica finally feels like she belongs, her sister turns up and reveals a tangled web of lies between them that will change everything.
So it sounds pretty good, like sister feuds, and I have sisters, so I totally get the sister feuds. Yeah, I'm really excited to read this. So this was like super big on Booktube a couple years ago. I never got around to it, but I'm gonna get around to it this month. Roll number 7. I'm hoping I get some big numbers here because this TBR is gonna be long. Roll number 7 is a 2. 1, 2. That is fantasy. Well, number 7, I'm getting concerned, you guys, because like I said, we're not moving very far, very fast. Is this going to be a big month? I don't know. We'll have to see. But rule number 7, I landed on a fantasy. And so I'm deciding to read the 3rd book in the Tales of a New World series, which is Windrider. And again, this is by PC Cast. And I already told you about the 1st book, so there you go. This is the 3rd one. Let's move on. Oh boy, this TBR is getting stacked, guys. Rule number 8 is a 3. 1, 2, 3. And we hit green, which again is Mr. TBR. I swear this board loves my Mr. TBR cards. Let's see what it is. Ooh, we have Roll the Dice. So this is Jessie May's TBR game. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and do that next. Rule number 8, I again landed on Mr. TBR. This game loves these cards, I swear. Like, I always land on these cards, which, you know, is fun, but it's kind of funny. Anyways, the prompt I ended up getting was Roll the Dice, and this is by Jessie May, or not by Jessie May, but this is Jessie May's TBR game. She's another booktuber. I will link her information down below, but this is a TBR game that she plays, where basically she just has a list of books that she wants to read. She rolls a dice, and whatever number the book lands on, or the dice lands on, is the book she's going to read. I have gone ahead and made a list of books that I want to read this month for the roll a dice thing. Okay, you guys, here's my list. Let me grab my dice. I have my 6-sided dice here. So let me roll it, and whatever number it lands on will be the number, will be the book I read. So let's see what I'm reading this one. We got number 4, so Waking Hours by Liz Wheel. That is the book I'm going to be reading. Okay, this is book 1 in the East Salem trilogy, Waking Hours by Liz Wheel with Pete Nelson. So this is Christian, mystery, paranormal, suspense, horror, fantasy, all of that goodness. All towns have secrets. Some have demons. Welcome to East Salem. Forensic psychiatrist Danny Harris and a security system business owner, Tommy Gunderson, investigate the death of a teenager while lawyers and school admins try to stop the investigation. At the same time, an old woman speaks in Latin about a supernatural connection to the murder. Totally gives me supernatural, spiritual warfare type of stuff, which I have been craving lately. I need more spiritual warfare books. So that's what I'm gonna be reading. So let's go ahead and go to the next roll. Okay, roll number 9. Please give me big numbers. 3. 1, 2, 3. That gives me a thriller. Book number 9, roll number 9, whatever. We landed on thriller, and I'm picking another Christian thriller. Christian horror? It says it's listed as thriller, science fiction, suspense, horror, mystery, so it's all of those things. So it's got thriller in there, so I'm going with it. And this is Germ by Robert Leperlio. Yep, that man. So let's see what this one is about. The germ, an advanced form of the Ebola virus, has been genetically engineered to infect only those people whose DNA matches the codes embedded within it. Those whose DNA is not a match simply catch a cold, but those who are a match experience a far worse fate. Within days, their internal organs liquefy. Death is the only escape. The release of the virus will usher in a new era of power where countries are left without defense, where a single person or millions could be killed with perfect accuracy and zero collateral damage, where your own DNA works against you. The time isn't coming, it is now. Pray the assassins get you first. Holy crap, does this ever sound relevant? Or like, I mean, you know, with like the whole pandemic we just went through, but and also something that could happen, which is scary. Like the thought of biological warfare like really freaks me out a whole heck of a lot. So I think this book is gonna be quite spooky. Come on, baby, let's get a big number. Give me a 6. And I get a 2. 1, 2, another Jurassic TBR card. We got a 5-star prediction. Sweet. So this dice hates me. This dice hates me. Rolled a 2. But we landed on a Mr. TBR card. for roll number 10. And you guys, I'm really actually excited for this one. I drew a 5-star prediction, so of course, fun, right? We always are up for 5-star predictions. I stumbled somehow upon this book, and you guys, I can't even tell you how excited I am for this. So the book that I'm going to read for this, that I am pretty sure is going to be a 5-star read, is Over the Edge by Brandolyn Collins. And you want to know why? Do you want to know why I'm so excited for this book? Do ya? Let me tell you. I'm so excited for this book because this is literally a book. It is a Lyme disease thriller. You guys, this is a Lyme disease thriller. Okay? For those of you who have no idea what the heck I'm talking about or why I'm so excited about this, I myself have Lyme disease. This is something that has greatly affected my life. I actually did post a video, if y'all want to check it out, about me talking about kind of how my condition, my Lyme disease and all that actually affects my ability to do booktube. Blah, blah, blah. I don't say blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so if you want to check that out, I'll link it above. But you guys, this book, when I read the synopsis of this, I was like, what? Lyme disease? What? And like, I was just like completely shocked. And I realized, or as kind of not experiencing, wow, I'm talking way too fast. As I was reading about this book, I kind of was like, I wonder if this is a own voices type of thing. And sure enough, it turns out, well, I shouldn't be happy about this, but the author, Brandolyn Collins, actually does herself have Lyme disease. And so, well, obviously that's not a good thing. It's really, really cool in the sense of this is an own voices story. And like, she knows what she's talking about. And so, you all, I'm so excited. So excited. I have never, ever read a book that deals with Lyme disease, let alone a little thriller. Like, this could be a favorite of all time. Okay, so, grief, anger, hatred, the perfect ingredients for revenge. Janessa McNeil's life looks perfect. Her husband, Dr. Brock McNeil, is a renowned researcher and professor at Stanford University's Department of Medicine. They have a beautiful home and can give their daughter everything she needs. Theirs is a life others envy, but nothing is as it seems. Forces are at work that will shatter everything: Janessa's marriage, her way of life, even her safety. For her husband's highly respected assertion that chronic Lyme disease doesn't exist has done more than inform medical insurance professionals. It's ruined lives. One man's life in particular. Now it's time to make Dr. Brock McNeil face the truth, to make him see the devastation Lyme disease causes up close and personal. And this bitter man has found the perfect tool to exact his revenge: Janessa and her daughter. Like, you guys! And this is Christian fiction. So you got Lyme disease, medical thriller, Christian fiction. Whoa, I'm so excited. Own voices. I'm so sorry, but I'm so excited for this book, you guys. Can you tell? Okay, let's move on before I go too much longer about this crazy cool book. Okay, let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can't beat the game, so we have at least 2 more rolls to go. Okay, let's hope for a big number again, because I already have 11 or 10 books on my TBR. This will be number 11, so yikes. Okay, roll number 11. And that gave me a 3. 1, 2, 3. That is another fantasy. I'm so close to the end that it hurts. I landed on a fantasy. And the book I'm choosing to read for that is Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I've never read a Rebecca Roanhorse, but I've heard that her books are really good. So this is a fantasy sci-fi type of book, kind of. A god will return when the earth and sky converge under the black sun in the holy city of Tova. The winter solstice is usually a time for celebration and renewal, but this year it coincides with a solar eclipse, a rare celestial event prophesied by the sun priest, is an unbalancing of the world. Meanwhile, a ship launches from a distant city bound for Tova and set to arrive arrive on the solstice. The captain of the ship, Shiola, is a disgraced teak whose song can calm the waters around her as easily as it can warp a man's mind. Her ship carries one passenger. Described as harmless, passenger Serapino is a young man, blind, scarred, and cloaked in destiny. As Shiola well knows, when a man is described as harmless, he usually ends up being a villain. So what really drew me to this was the fact that it is inspired by pre-colonial Americans. I believe this is more kind of South America tribes, like more of like the Aztecs and stuff. I believe, if from my understanding, is kind of where it's more based off. So not necessarily North America, but more South American or Central American mythology, whatever. And I adore anything that has to do with folklore, like I said, mythology, that kind of stuff. But I'm really, really interested in the early Americans and from all, South, Central, North, all that. I love learning about their cultures and everything. So I'm really excited for this. And you got the magic warped in it and some like creepy stuff happening with the sun and the moon and all the things. So I'm really, really excited to get to this one. Okay, now as the rule states, I need to roll a 4 to be able to complete the game. If I do not roll a 4, I have to go back the number of spaces that is rolled. So come on, give me a 4, give me a 4. Roll number 12. Oh my gosh. So the one time that I actually get a big number, darn you dice, is the one time I don't want a big number. Oh, I gotta go back 6. Oh my gosh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, at least we get a fun one. Jurassic TBR card. Let's see what we got. We have Mr. DNA, read a translated book. All right. I finally get that big number I've been wanting. And it sends me backwards. 6 spaces. 6 spaces. I landed on a Jurassic TBR card, which, hey, you know what? At least it gave me a fun prompt, right? And it picked for me Mr. DNA, read a translated book. And I do own at least one book that is translated, and it's short, and it's spooky, and it coincides with the ancestry thing that I've been doing or want to do. So that book is Lake of the Dead. And this is by Andre oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I looked up this guy's name a while ago. Bajirk. I'm so sorry if I'm incorrect there. And this is Norwegian. Yes, it's Norwegian. So I'm actually reading 2 Norwegian books this month, which is pretty fun. And who is translated this? This is translated by James G. Jenkins, and this was originally written in 1942. So I know that Scandinavia is well known for their mystery crime thrillers, though I think this is kind of a horror. And I've really been wanting to get more, learn more about that culture and that writing, and I'm really super excited to read this. And this says a 1942 classic that has been voted Norway's all-time best thriller, a brilliant mix of mystery and the supernatural. So, I mean, Norway's best thriller of all time. I mean, come on, of course I'm gonna read this. Deep in the darkest part of the Norwegian woods stands Dead Man's Cabin, where 110 years ago, a madman slew his sister and her lover, throwing their decapitated corpses in a nearby lake before drowning himself to join them in death. Ever since, the cabin has been cursed, and anyone who spends the night there is possessed by the killer's spirit and infected with his madness. John Werner, a young scholar from Oslo, ignored the old superstitions and bought the cabin as a place to read and work in quiet. Now he has disappeared, and the evidence suggests he threw himself in the lake in a fit of insanity. The police write it off as suicide, but those who knew him are not so sure. Could the curse actually be real? Bjorn's sister and 5 of his friends traveled to the cabin to look into his death, but not all of them will return alive from their stay at the Lake of the Dead. So, hello. Sounds great, right? This cover, isn't this the creepiest cover ever? But it's like that matte paperback. It feels so good. I'm really excited to read this book, so I'm really glad it picked translated book for me this month. Okay, so now I just have to roll enough numbers to get there. So if I land on Like here, I can roll, as long as I roll a 3 or higher, I'm good to go. So no more backtracking, but my gosh, please give me some high numbers because that's still a lot of spaces that could be added to my TBR this month. Whew. Okay, roll number 13 is, sorry, I was reaching for the dice and I knocked the camera over. So sorry for this different angle, but roll number 13 is a 4. So, I mean, it could be worse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another Jurassic TBR card. Yay, I'm really excited to get the cards. Like, I really actually am. Okay, this one is Owen Grady, Read an Adventurous book. Well, we didn't make it to the end of the board, but we're close. So, roll number 13, I landed on Jurassic TBR once again. The card I drew is Owen Grady, Read an Adventurous book. So I went on to Scribd and I put in a bunch of books that, like, I have like a TBR pile or list or whatever, a bunch of books that I want to read this month or that, like, over the spooky season. And I went through and looked and see which one was tagged as adventurous. So I found one that has the tag adventurous. I'm gonna go with it. That is Shade by John B. Olson. This is a Christian thriller, horror, suspense, like, type of book, so I'm really excited. You will not fear the terror of the night. Psalm 91. A monstrous waking nightmare is pursuing graduate student Haley Mathis across San Francisco to Golden Gate Park, where she is rescued by a towering homeless man. She seems to be able to read her rescuer's mind, but is it just a delusion? Doctors diagnose her as a paranoid schizophrenic and attempt to prescribe away her alleged hallucinations. But too many questions remain around Haley and the man who saved her. He appears to suffer from her same mental condition and is convinced that some type of gypsy vampire is trying to kill them both. Against reason, Haley finds herself more and more attracted to the strange man. But what if he is a fantasy? What if he is the monster? So, like, what? I always am a little bit cautious going into books that deal with mental health stuff, where they're like, oh, you have this, but it's maybe something else. So this was written in 2008, so it might be problematic. I don't know. I mean, I'll have to read it to find out, obviously. I'm a little concerned about that, but I'm gonna read this one and I'm gonna tell you guys what I think of it. Rule number 14, what the actual heck. I think this is like the worst my game has ever been to me. So, like, come on, please be nice. Rule number 14 is a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes! That means, woo! We escaped Jurassic TBR, you guys, with only 13 books. Only 13 books. Yeah, because, you know, that's doable. Oh, joyous day, you guys! Rule number 14, I'm finally done. Finally finished Jurassic TBR, so I only have 13 books in my TBR. Yay! So much fun! And I still have to do Becca's Bookathon this month. So let me gather up the books that I physically own that I will be showing y'all. Or that I will be reading this month. What am I saying? Thankfully, majority, if not pretty much all of the books I'm choosing to read this month, well, besides the folktale one, I can find them, even though, like, the ones I own, I can find them on audiobook, because audiobooks is really kind of how I read majority of my books. So that's going to be very, very helpful for me this month to be able to get through this massive TBR. But here we go. Here is the physical stack. I will be having another physical book. Like I said, the one's at the library. I just haven't picked it up yet. But I got 5 physical books out of the 13 I'm reading this month. But yeah, that's my TBR, you guys. So I'm hoping to kind of, like, get the physical ones out of the way earlier in the month, so then I can just crank out audiobooks and be good to go. But we shall see. Oh geez, hopefully I can get all of these read this month. 13 books, I can do it. That's a bit pushing it for me, but it just depends on what's going on. And again, since majority of them are on audiobook, that's gonna make my life so much easier. So yeah, here you go, my physical TBR, and then plus what the other 8 books that I have. Just imagine 8 more books stacked here. So it's gonna be like, hello, 13 books. Yeah, guys, anyways, if you like this video, like I said in the beginning, please give me a thumbs up. I would really, really appreciate it. I really hope you guys stuck through the end. If you have stuck through the end with me, I so greatly appreciate you. And how about you put a leaf emoji, like an autumn leaf emoji, in the comments, if you would, please. You don't have to comment anything. Just put a leaf. Let me know you're here. I'd appreciate it so, so much. Yeah, that's it. I hope you guys are going to be having a great fall season. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye, guys.